Welcome back to the conversation. We're wrapping it around Nigeria's political capital, Abuja. And of course, there's a political move today that you've seen on our breaking news. Atiku Abubakar says he has resigned from the ruling APC and now pitching his tent all the way back to the People Democratic Party, the PDP. This is one man, one political figure in Nigeria who knows both sides of the coin and had played both sides. That's one big news this morning, and as Nigeria's news leader, we're all over that for you from our newsroom. That's a political story. Just don't leave that. I'm sure Shewo Kimbaloye and the rest of the team would squeeze that all together for you later tonight at about 7 p.m. local time when you watch that political show. So I'm back to the political capital, Abuja. Celestine Okeke, thank you very much. Let's have a quick one from you. One of our viewers, Abbas Muhammad, has just sent a tweet in and said, you were wrong about the FCT not having a department that focuses on SMEs. Says there is Abuja Enterprise Agency by the acronym AEA. Are you aware of this agency?
Yeah, the Abuja Enterprise Agency does a lot of capacity building and training for MSMEs. What I did talk about is when it comes in terms of industrialization, managing the economy in the FCT. So it doesn't manage anything that has to do with the economy of the FCT. What it does is enterprise development. And we did a review, which I sent a copy to you. We looked at the last 5 years, what government has done financing MSMEs for economic growth. AEA does not do anything beyond capacity building, capacity training, and is not working in terms of developing the economy of the FCT. If they have alternative fact to that, they can share with you, and you will share with members of the public. So what we are looking at is the economy of the FCT. What is driving the economy of the FCT? Okay, so let's even ask Abbas Mohammed, what has the AEA done in terms of driving the economy of the FCT? Are there any intervention that we have put in place to see economic activities pouring up here beyond capacity building, capacity trade? That is what the AEA does. And I said also that the only thing we have on ground here that supports the economy of the FCT is the Industrial Development Center managed by Smidan, which I also said in the last 5 years has not received any funding from Smidan, so nothing is happening there. We can do a lot of capacity building, capacity training, but how would that translate to developing the economy of the FCT? And I'll tell you something, Boasin. If you do a little research on the number of paper they use for printing, they use for typing, they use for different office works, the volume consumed daily in the FCT here, spread across the ministry, departments, agencies, and private organizations, then you'll be thinking that by now we would have been able to spur some production of these papers in the FCT. But we don't have that happening. We have several housing estates that have been developed in the last 10, 15 years, but yet we don't have as little as a new production factory in the FCT. We don't have that. Even a key production factory in the FCT, we don't have that. What we have is assembly plants for people who bring their doors and furniture from outside the country and they assemble here. So we're speaking in terms of economic, spurring economic activities, not doing capacity building training, because most times you ask for what were the needs assessment that necessitated you're going for this capacity building. There's nothing to speak to that. Or what have you done with these guys you have trained in the last 2, 3, 4 years? Can you tell us their present position? You can't tell all of that. So we're saying, look, in terms of driving economic activity in the FCT, the government is not doing anything. But if you want to lead me to the area of capacity building, I'll tell you here, several billions have been budgeted for capacity building for entrepreneurs in the FCT, which has not amounted to anything. So let's make that clear distinction. Economic activities is very different from doing capacity building trainings.
Okay. Thanks for clearing that up between capacity building, which means just sitting down in seminars and conference rooms, have some tea, coffee, biscuits, and pastries, sit down for a couple of days, listen to some nice lectures on PowerPoint, and then everybody go home. I guess that's what you're talking about, not about economic development of that city, Nigeria's political capital, which has sunk billions and billions of dollars since it was created in the 1980s. And let's get back to Oluwashina Olubu here. It was also in Abuja last week, Tuesday, that that's where the headquarters of the central bank really is. So that's where the MPC meeting was. And the decision for the final time in 2017, the central bank is doing, quote-unquote, nothing. You said there are a few notes, and you said there are a few issues that were identified as key risks for raising rates, and which could be positive in 2018. Talk us through this very quickly.
Well, the first thing is, let's even ask, what are the arguments for keeping the rates The argument for keeping the rate is stability of the FX and the stability of general price level. Stability of FX, for me, it's the argument is, for me, right now outdated, because the oil revenue can do what the attractiveness of what's it called, returns would do. Then stability of price, general price level, is not really, because inflation in Nigeria is not necessarily a monetary issue. It's more of a structural issue than monetary. And even the components of inflation, as we have seen in the last few months, where as we stabilize the FX, we see reduction in the core inflation, while food inflation keeps going up. That tells you that it's structural. Now, it's fine to have stability in FX, but if you look at other factors, even in the report of the MPC, there are some things that show that the rate should have been dropped. One, M2, which is the broad money supply, instead of the provisional benchmark growth of 10%, instead of growing, it came down by 5%. Now, the second thing is the credit to private sector. Private sector credit dropped marginally by 0.24%, as against the provisional benchmark of 15% that was made by the CBN. So what that tells us is that it's not surprising to see that we have reduction. We have reduction in the non-oil sector components of the GDP. So it just says that explains why, because the manufacturing part of the GDP needs money to oil whatever it is that is being done.
Well, perhaps the central bank wants the government to bring in the money, because the MPC folks are scared of allowing this money to go out.
That's not necessarily true, because there's no incentive for the banks to create risk if they can make between 18 to 21% doing nothing.
Yes, on fixed income.
On fixed income. So what you're supposed to do is to disincentivize that aspect of having to go for cheap
of the market,
and then go and do the conventional business of banking, which is financial intermediation. Go and give money to them, and then you see that. And by the way, the 1.4% growth in the GDP, in third quarter GDP, is, for me, is very fragile. If you look at the fact that the major drivers of the economy, talk about mining, talk about manufacturing, they all dropped instead of growing. So, and that is where the employment to be generated. Unemployment plus underemployment figure is around 35%. That is too huge.
Now,